everybody. Welcome to Terminal 1. I'm Sean Fitz. Tonight, the 802 Gen 6 Cup Series rolls on through the desert and Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Glad you're with us here. It's going to be a good one. Here on Turn 1, these drivers getting grid up and ready to roll. Here tonight, out here, look, everybody hoping to get lucky at Las Vegas. Couple drivers on the chip here early, just trying to make sure everything's warmed up and ready to go. I think we got some paint schemes cleaned up as well. Let's quickly work through tonight's starting grid as they get up and running, and we get ready to see some racing action here in the desert. Andrew Chapman, Richard Toledo round out row number 1. Tim Rogers, Mac Grabe is going to make up position 3 and 4. Jeff Pogo is going to start 5th tonight. Grant Humphrey is 6th. Michael Wolf is 7th. Then it's Joe Hudson. Carlos Ortiz Tyler Humphrey rounding out the top 10 drivers here tonight in Vegas. Taking a look a little further back, Daniel George Jr. had a rough go of it last night. He's going to start 11th here tonight in Vegas. Mason Hull, Ty Dickinson, Jim Ott, and Brandon Garand, last week's race winner number 1 of this Gen 6 Cup Series, going to start 15th. Jason Harrison, going to start 16th. Landon Forrester, Evan Fuqua, Scott Drost, Stephen Holmes, your top 20. And then it's Aiden Trito, Josh Slater, Shawnee Barker, Ron Holyfield, Steve Ritter, and Eli Raposa. Your 26-car field as they roll off the grid here at Las Vegas. Tonight, these drivers, I know there's a bit of a mix-up on the server, so they're going to have access to unlimited tires here tonight. That is not the normal format, but that's not going to change a whole lot. Las Vegas can really put on some green flag racing. We're going to see these cars struggle off the corner of turn 2 as they continue to get lighter through the run. We'll also see them down pit road at least twice for fuel. We'll just see how this all shakes out. Last week was Daytona. That's a super speedway. It is a great equalizer, but as we head down the schedule here and starting at Las Vegas the next week in Bristol, you're going to start to see some of the talent. This 802 Gen 6 Cup Series group come to life. That pace car is going to head down pit road. Andrew Chapman, Richard Toledo, race number 2, and the green flag is going to be out. We're racing on Wednesday night here on turn 1. These runs are going to be something some of these drivers, these leaders are going to have to contend with. As we see Chapman run down the bottom of the racetrack, Toledo, Rogers, Pogo, Grape, all back here battling for this top 5 spots. Carlos Ortiz right here in the middle of this. Michael Wolf as well. 3 wide down there in 1 and 2. They get it sorted out back 2 by 2 here. These cars up to speed at this point. These Gen 6 Cup cars, they are a handful. And drivers have been talking all week about running this car and how complicated at times it can be, how it handles, how it feels, how it races. So we see Chapman out front. He's got it figured out, but a lot of these drivers petition to maybe run a different car. See if that materializes. So we got several drivers slow down the backstretch. Who is that stop? That is Evan Fuqua. Stopped down there on the bottom. He's going to get that car rolling. No caution. That was out of 2. Meanwhile, side by side, Ortiz and Rogers. Ortiz right down to the bottom. Wow, what a shove there by the 97 of Pogo. Ortiz is going to slide into that 2nd place position. Pogo Grip going to settle into that 4th place spot. Just behind Matt Grave, Toledo and Rogers. Side by side. Toledo having a little bit of trouble here getting into a position he's comfortable with in that 88 car. He is starting to fall through the field after starting in the top 3. Back up front, Pogo now on the bottom. I'm sorry, on the top, Matt Grabe. On the bottom, these two make contact with one another. They're going to slide up in front of the field. Contact is avoided with the exception of those two, and that's going to bring the caution out. Let's go take a look here. Oh, that looked like some net code with the 97. And I think and that was we I saw some conversation about this. I'm not following the story. I'm wondering if there's something going on with some netcode with this car. The 52, the 97 making contact as they head off into turn 3 is going to bring the first caution of the night out here on turn 1. And Andrew Chapman leads, Carlos Ortiz, Richard Toledo, Daniel George Jr., Michael Wolf, your top 5. Remember what I mentioned about the setup of the session? The tires being limiting, or not as limiting here tonight as they traditionally are. See some of these drivers maybe elect to come down pit road. A couple drivers thinking about it. Others are actually going to do it. Toledo's going to come down, so will the 53. And then that'll bring a mixed bag of results down pit road. This is going to shake some things up. We'll step aside here for just a moment. Our first caution of the night. Working lap number 7. You're watching turn 1. Pace car lights are off as they get ready to go back. Green flag racing here. Coming to lap number 9 on turn 1. For the 802 Gen 6 Cup Series on Wednesday nights. Race number 2 was at Daytona last week, as I mentioned, and had their hands full. But here in Vegas, a little bit of an opportunity for some drivers to step it up a little bit. We'll see how that all turns out. Chapman, Ortiz on the front row. Michael Wolf, Daniel George Jr., Tim Rogers, your top 5. But then we start to see where some of those drivers came down pit road to take those tires. That includes Josh Slater, Jason Harrison, Grant Humphrey, Tyler Humphrey, Eli Raposa, Johnny Parker, and others all coming down pit road. Pace car is going to dip down. Let's see if we can unwind a green flag cycle here. The flag's out. They're back racing in the desert of Vegas. Free and clear, Andrew Chapman goes, but George and Ortiz side by side. Then it's Tim Rogers and Michael Wolf back behind him. It's going to take about a lap or 3 for these drivers to get sorted out here. What a breakaway run out of Ortiz, George, and Rogers. Michael Wolf is actually going to back up to Jim Ott. Ty Dickinson, Stephen Holmes. It's a little bit of a traffic jam as they head off into 1. This Gen 6 car is super susceptible to just being really aero sensitive, aero tight, and when you get runs and getting kind of jammed up is the norm. We see that just a little bit here. We go back and look back up front. They get single filed out. Chapman, Ortiz Jr. and George Jr. and Rogers. Your top four single filed out, and you're starting to see some fast laps pour in. Richard Toledo puts one on the field there. A pretty strong fast lap for that driver. And we've got a car backwards down the backstretch again. That's Jason Harrison, and that's going to bring the caution out. Harrison gets it spun around, and Landon Forster also involved in this. I don't know if that was quite some net code this last time. That looked like that may have been a bit of a moment there. Let's take a look. I don't know. Maybe it was. It's so hard to tell in that angle. Left rear contact made as the caution comes out here. Jason Harrison gets spun around again off of turn number 2. I talked about how difficult that corner was going to be for this group here tonight. And we're starting to see that come to fruition. Again, I want to thank everybody for being here. If you're new to the channel, either on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're at, do me a favor. Scroll up and like the stream. I'd love to see some thumbs up over there. That really helps the algorithm. That gets other folks in here watching with us as we've got some drivers coming down pit road. That's Ortiz is going to come down. Dickinson's going to come down as well. Steve Holmes, Johnny Barker, Richard Toledo, all coming to the attention of their crew. Yeah, but it brings more folks in here to watch this exciting racing with the 802 Gen 6 car. So like the stream, and do me a favor, if you haven't already, subscribe. It's free to do so. Support us on all the platforms you consume content. We are live tonight over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Turn1 Broadcasting. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on our Facebook page. If you've not liked our Facebook page, get notified anytime we're getting ready to go live. Over there, we're so close. I think we're 2 folks away from 500 followers over on Facebook. That's not a lot to some, but that is a ton for somebody who's been calling races for quite a while and had a lot of fun doing it. And restarted the brand about 2 years ago. We're taking some time off. We'd love to have your support. Under caution here at Las Vegas for the second time. We're going to see the pace car get the field collected back up here as they come by next time by. And they will get a grid up ready for another restart. So far here tonight, it is Andrew Chapman qualifying on the pole, and he's going to get him restarted here once again on the front here. Brendan Cooper, we see over on YouTube. You have been here. That's 2 nights in a row. It's Cooper, thank you so much for being here. Tuning in. Pace car lights are off, and again, Chapman's going to have an opportunity to get this field rolling once again. He had a strong restart last time, was able to break away quite a bit and get out of the traffic and all of the momentum racing that was happening behind him. Let's see if he can recreate the magic he found last time. I know we were we saw some net code bring out that first caution. The second one I think could have been 50-50, and I know these drivers were talking about some potential issues with this car. We'll see if that that turns into. I would strongly recommend everybody over on Facebook head on over to the 802 iRacing League on Facebook. Get followed and joined up in the conversation over there. They've also got the Discord. Be more than happy to have you join up and come racing with them. Pace car. It's going to head down pit road. Chapman. Daniel George Jr., Tim Rogers, Michael Wolf, Jim Ott, your top 5. Green flag back out in the desert. Another solid restart out of Chapman. It's 2 by 2 by 3 back there. Working through turn 3. That is a tight group of cars off of turn 2. You heard me during that break talking about the momentum racing. Well, this is a perfect byproduct of it. These guys just can't quite get away from one another. We've got some 3-wide action all over the top 5, top 10 racing positions back here. And then these two are going at it. That is Daniel George Jr., Tim Rogers side by side. Rogers on the inside, George Jr. on the outside. Oh, we got more cars going around again on the backstretch. No caution. We're going to stay green. The fight's starting to settle down just a little bit. This battle back here, that's Josh Slater on Holyfield. That's for 12. And then you've got Ty Dickinson, Steve Ritter on Holyfield. Ritter had a great night last night, brought home the checkered flag here on turn 1. It'd been a while since he had been in victory lane, but thus far he's raced himself up to 14th. That's plus 11 so far in the early going here. We go back up front though. Andrew Chapman's in trouble. That gap that he had is gone. And now all of a sudden Daniel George Jr., Carlos Ortiz are all in the mix right here. So is Tim Rogers. A 4-way battle for the lead, but here comes Ortiz. Had a strong run off of turn 4 all over the left and right of Andrew Chapman. Not able to get alongside of him until right near into turn 1. Ortiz is going to challenge Chapman, and he's going to have a good run here off of 2. Can he get the job done? He can. It's a drag race down the Nellis backstretch. This right here is where Ortiz was the strongest. You see him out there. He's going to muscle out. A new leader, lap number 19. That's Carlos Ortiz. These two battling right here in front. And that's Daniel George Jr., Tyler Humphrey, Jim Ott, Johnny Barker. All right here in this pack of 4. Watching these leaders go side by side. While we've got the opportunity, let's well, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. Let's ride on board with Jim Ott. A lap around Vegas. Caution out again, and that was Jim Ott making contact there with Daniel George Jr. Let's go back and take a look. If I'm being honest, it's a little early to be making that time. Let's take one more look at it here. Off the corner. No, that is absolute net code. Just being a big problem here. Daniel George Jr. making contact with that inside wall. That is going to bring the caution out here once again at Vegas, lap number 22. We're going to step aside for just a moment, collect our thoughts. Be right back with you. You're watching Turn 1. Pace car lights are off, and Aiden Trado is going to be out front. Ty Dickinson, Josh Slater, Jeff Pogo, or Andrew Chapman, your top 5. As these drivers get ready to get back green flag here at Las Vegas. Andrew Chapman decided to come down pit road. That brought down a large portion of the top 10, rather. And he's going to restart the first time in traffic back here in 5th. Tyler Humphrey, Carlos Ortiz is going to restart 7th. Johnny Barker and Michael Wolf, Jim Ott, your top 10. We were riding on board with Jim Ott when all that broke out. And that caution waved. He's going to restart 10th back there on the outside of road number 5. Pace car down pit road. Aiden Trodo is going to get going here. Ty Dickinson, P2, green flag back out here in Vegas. Under caution here again with some action out of turn 2. Oh, that's several cars getting turned there. That's the 24, the 9. I think oh, wow. The 9 car is going to be tore up quite a bit. This is, I don't think this is necessarily a byproduct of the racing or who's on track. I think a lot of this is some net code that's going on with this car. Oh, well, no, they were 4 wide there. I don't know if that was necessary. That is rather unfortunate. We've had some strong racing here on turn 1, but unfortunately the Winston I Crews is just not having a good go of it here tonight so far. Caution back out, lap number 26. Aiden Trodo, Andrew Chapman, Carlos Ortiz, Tim Rogers, Josh Slater, your top 5. You're watching turn 1. Getting ready to get back. Green flag racing here. Lap number 29 on turn 1 in Las Vegas for the 802 Gen 6 Cup car. And it's been a challenging one so far here. But so far, but moving and looking ahead, going to turn it around, I'm sure, with this group. It's all going to start here with Aiden Trado out front. Andrew Chapman was up to P2. Can he retake the lead here on this restart? Pace car down pit road. And in the green, or in the restart zone, green flag back out of Vegas. Cautions have a tendency to breed cautions, but they make it down the backstretch. Side by side, that's Ortiz and Chapman right there on the bumper of the 17 car. And they're going to get underneath them. It's going to be a three-way battle for the lead as they come across the stripe. Andrew Chapman's going to lead down the middle. Carlos Ortiz poking the nose, half a car length, now a full car length right there on the bottom. Ortiz is going to take that top spot, but here comes the run on the outside by Chapman. Still side by side, back and forth here. Chapman's going to be credited with leading this lap. Ortiz right to the inside. Not going to quite let that go. He's going to get the run down here off into 1 and 2. But that outside line is just a power move. Here comes Chapman again. Nearly gets clear. Has to back out of it in 1 and 2 here. And again, tire savings here is not necessarily deniable. We got cars spinning back here again. That's Daniel George Jr. going to take a ride through the infield. Richard Toledo's involved, and that's going to bring the caution out. Let's take a look. This started, I saw that in the corner of my eye. Right here, coming out of 4. Yep. The 33 and the 9, and then I see the 5 going for a ride. That is not the night Daniel George Jr. wanted to have. He has had a rough go of it. Any of the races I have seen over the last couple weeks. But back to the lead goes Andrew Chapman, Carlos Ortiz, Tim Rogers, Johnny Barker, Richard Toledo, your top 5. As we take a look here at the point standings. No, sorry, not the point standings, rather the, let's take the top 5 fastest drivers on track by lap time. Carlos Ortiz has really been putting down some heat. Tim Rogers, Jim Mott, Johnny Barker, Richard Toledo. We don't see our pole or our leader, Andrew Chapman, on this list. But this is the fastest lap times. And then obviously looking at fastest lap times last time around, Aiden Trado on the top spot. Barker, Eli Raposa, Steve Ritter, Josh Slater. All last time by. We've got several drivers down pit road to the attention of their crew. Richard Toledo, Michael Wolf, Joe Hudson's down there. Daniel George Jr., he's going to be in the box. He's got the right sides going on. Steve Ritter is on his way in that 61 back out. And see Daniel George, he is going to have to get some repairs on that car. The left side going down. He is picking up some of those repairs as, again, the pace car lights are on, and we're under caution here once again at Las Vegas. Lap number 33. You're watching Turn 1. Getting ready for another restart here at Las Vegas. Chapman, Ortiz, Rogers, Garand has worked himself up to P4. Ron Holyfield is going to restart fifth. Pit Cycles working their magic, bringing some new faces up here to the top 10. Green flag back out. They get jammed up on the outside. Who is that don't go? That's Ortiz. That does not roll, and several cars get into one another on that outside line. The top 5 get rolling single file on the bottom. Durant is going to slot into that 6th place spot. Chapman, he's going to move down. He's trying to break the run. You heard me talk about the momentum that these cars can really get attached to. If you can't break away, you're going to be in trouble. Well, you see it right here. Tim Rogers right to the bumper. Now looking to the outside of the 23. Rogers charging hard on the outside. Ortiz right there just waiting in the wings for something to go a little sideways. Tim Rogers going to come across the stripe. Carlos Ortiz, P2. Andrew Chapman for top 3. As we're going to have another battle for that lead. Ortiz now right there to the bottom, but Rogers not going to give it up. We have seen this outside runoff of 2 be really strong here tonight in Vegas. And now we got a little 3 wide action coming into the mix. Chapman back up here. This is that run that I was talking about. And these cars, you can't quite break away from one another, especially if you can't get away on the jump. We didn't see Chapman do that. Now it's a 3-way battle for the lead as they head off into turn 1. Back behind him, Johnny Barker, Brandon Garand. He is right here. So is Michael Wolf in this mix. See him riding around right there, and Aiden Teotrado looking, he's taking advantage of the pit stop cycles, all the cautions coming out, and he has raced himself up here, hanging on into the top 10. Rogers continues to dig on that inside. Ortiz on the outside. This is a 5-6 car battle right here for the lead. Oh, wow. That was tight there against the 23 and the 6 of Johnny Barker. Hack racing at Las Vegas in the Cup car. And these guys have started to break away from the rest of the field. As we start to see laps click off here, working lap number 40 of 100. They would have to stop one more time, but I suspect these guys are going to keep the aggression levels high as they come across the stripe, fanning out all over the racetrack, top to bottom, all the way to the grass. Let's take a moment. Let's ride on board. Let's do it with Johnny Barker in the 6 car. Take a lap or 2 here around Las Vegas in the Cup machine. You hear all the off-throttle time as Wow, Barker gets into the wall. Brandon Garand dives all the way down to the inside. And that just shows you the runs these drivers are getting. And it is difficult to manage. Garand's going to dive to the inside, nearly makes contact with Andrew Chapman. That's going to check everybody up. Ortiz is going to slide forward. Out front, Ortiz, Chapman now, single file. Then it's Rogers, Garand, Trado. This group has grown exponentially. Steve Ritterdale's back in the mix. Daniel George Jr., Eli Raposa in this group. All up here battling for some top spots. They fan out. These cars, this is the longest green flag run we have seen all night. 2-3 wide battle for the lead pretty much the entire time. For pack racing here in Vegas. Working around some lap traffic. Ortiz on that high line. Rogers on the inside. He wraps the corner here fairly well, but Ortiz is just able to use some of that side draft, especially out of 1 and 2, to maintain the momentum. Here comes Chapman now on the outside. Down all the way to the apron goes Ortiz. That momentum Chapman had, he's going to try to follow it up on the outside. What a big drive off the corner. He's going to get clear. Andrew Chapman gets clear. Hayden Trono goes around. Rogers involved. I believe that is, that's Carlos Ortiz involved as well. That's going to bring another caution out. Nearly got to halfway, and I tell you what, that was some exciting racing. We know there's obviously something going on a little funky with this car, but let's take a look down the front stretch here. Trono on the outside, Johnny Barker. I think Barker got into the back of Trono, and then he was just not able to hang on to that car, and makes pretty solid inside wall contact, and the caution's going to be out here once again. We're going to go back green flag racing with just past halfway, but until then, we're going to reset. Catch our breath. You go catch yours. We'll be right back. You're watching Turn 1. Pace car, lights are off. Andrew Chapman, Johnny Parker, Tim Rogers, Brady Garan, and Steve Ritter, your top 5. As they get ready to go back, green flag racing lap number 51 here. Chapman broke out to a strong lead there. Barker is going to, Rogers is going to try to follow through, but everybody's going to be right behind him, 2 by 2 by 2. We've seen this is Chapman's strength here so far tonight. He's been able to break away from this group. He's going to try to break the draft as well. He wants to stay out of this pack as much as possible. Here comes Steve Ritter. Power move down the inside. We've seen him win last night on some strategy with the BG Graphics Truck Series. And now he's up 23 spots, sitting in second as the caution's out here once again. And this looks like this may have involved Josh Slater. Let's go back and take a look. Slater there in the middle, moves down, not clear. And that's going to bring that caution out once again. Tim Rogers sitting third, Johnny Parker, Michael Wolf, Brandon Garand, Daniel George Jr., Stephen Holmes, Richard Toledo, Carlos Ortiz. Your top 10 again. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Turn 1, the 802 Gen 6 Cup Series is live on Turn 1 every Tuesday night. I want to thank this group for having me on board. Coming into tonight, it was an interesting battle at Daytona, but Brandon Garand was able to knock one off and take home the win in the points lead. Evan Fook was only out by 4. Jeff Pogo by 9 is your top 3 in points. But we changed up the schedule quite a bit. Next week we head over to Bristol. We're going night racing at the Great Coliseum. And then we head to New Hampshire in 2 weeks' time, Michigan, and then Watkins Glen, a road course on Turn 1. It has been a long time, our Ohio sim racing days, since we've been to a road course, and we're going to do it. We're going to go left and right. It's going to be a good time. That race is going to happen August 19th. And then it's Charlotte, Phoenix, Talladega, Texas, Martinsville, Chicagoland, and then wrapping up the season and in pretty quick fashion. Just the 13 race season, October 7th at Homestead. I also would be remiss if I didn't bring up the Sim 500 and the NC 811 Limited Series tomorrow night right here on Turn 1. That race will get kicked off about 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Make sure you tune in to that. A lot of the same names are going to be in that race. It'll be fun to watch. And pulling up that schedule here really quick. That is that ARCA group, by the way. So if you're excited to see some ARCA racing on the channel, you're going to do it. Next week, or I'm sorry, tomorrow night, we head to Bristol for 150 laps with the NC11 Limited Series right here on Turn 1. Pace car, lights are off. We're getting ready to get back green flag racing. Andrew Chapman, your leader. Then it's Steve Ritter, Tim Rogers, Johnny Barker, Michael Wolf. Your top 5. And don't look now, but again, last night's race winner, Steve Ritter. hanging out on the outside of row number 1. He'd love to go 2 for 2 here. He had a great night last night. Able to take advantage of some really solid pit strategy at Texas. Not going to quite be able to lean on that here tonight, but looks like so far that 61 car's got some pace. We'll find out as we go down the run here. Pace car down pit road. Andrew Chapman into the restart zone. Green flag back out against rolling by about 2 car lengths once again. Chapman, Rogers, Ritter. We see these drivers back here, 3rd, 4th, 5th. They've not been able to break away anywhere near as strong as the leader has. Chapman's going to move from bottom to the top there, trying to break the draft down the backstretch. But man, what a run Tim Rogers has got off of turn 4. Pulled that draft perfectly. He's going to follow the leader all the way down to the start finish line, but Rogers is going to challenge for the lead right as they get off into turn 1 here. Back behind them, it is a bit of a free-for-all with Ritter, Wolf, Toledo, Barker in this mix. This is, we're going to see Chapman. He did not quite get the run away that he would like to have, and he is going to eventually reel this larger group in back to him. Meanwhile, these drivers back here, 3 wide. That's Carlos Ortiz. He's got Johnny Barker right there, as well as Johnny Barker, Brandon Garand, Richard Toledo all battling 3 wide. They fan out down the backstretch. You mentioned me saying this group was going to get caught right back up to our leader. Well, they've done it. Rogers has got some help. Here comes Ritter down to the inside, and they are right to the bumper. To Andrew Chapman. Driving out of turn 2, and these runs have been pretty strong here tonight as we ride on board with Carlos Ortiz. Ortiz is going to look to the inside of Steve Ritter. We mentioned how he had just a run. These cars look like they are just on blocks of ice, but they are getting incredible runs as they come down the backstretch here. We saw Brandon Garand in that one car. Looks like he got way up against the wall. Not sure what was going on there. We heard a lot of lifting riding on board there with Ortiz, and these cars certainly a handful here tonight for a couple of these drivers as we start to see some green flag laps materialize. Chapman able to hang on to that top spot. Tim Rogers got to him several times here, but has not been able to make the pass. See him tight to the bumper as they roll through 3 and 4. Chapman running a lane higher. Here comes Rogers to the inside. What a big run. I just said he had not been able to get underneath him and to him yet. Well, now it's going to be a 3-way fight for the lead. What? Tim Rogers makes contact. Who else was that went down there? And that's going to bring the caution out, and we've got several cars in the wall. There's a lot that just unfolded here. Well, that Rogers came up and made contact. I believe that's the 61. But there was something else going on here with Rogers. I believe that's Ortiz. Oh, Rogers, that car just breaks loose to the left, and then just kept going straight. I don't know what happened there. Well, that's going to bring the caution out once again. Here at lap number 64, Andrew Chapman leads. Brandon Garand, Stephen Holmes, Richard Toledo, Johnny Barker, your top 5. You're watching Pace car, lights are off, getting ready to get back green flag here. With the pit stops wrapping up, this should give these drivers enough fuel if they wanted to try to go all the way to the very end. Andrew Chapman, Brandon Garand, Stephen Holmes, Richard Toledo, Michael Wolf, your top 5. We'll see how this all shakes out from a strategy perspective. It's been a lot of aggressive racing up and down the racetrack here tonight. As it looks like they're going to wave it off and re-rack it one more time. The pace car's going to stay out, so Chapman's going to bring him back around here. Speaking of Chapman, let's take a look at tonight's lap leaders. And Andrew Chapman so far led 46 of the laps ran. Carlos Ortiz has led 10. Aiden Trino and Tim Rogers rounding out the other 11. So a mix of folks out front, but so far it has been Andrew Chapman all the time. He's been up front. He was won the pole here in Vegas. Pace car lights are out. That's a sign of these drivers. We're getting ready to get back green flag racing. Down pit road, the pace car goes. Chapman Grant on the front row. Let's see what this runs can do. Chapman's been doing a pretty decent job on these restarts. Gonna bring that car into the zone. He goes. Green flag back out. Pretty decent jump. We're back racing here at Las Vegas on lap number 68. Chapman stays out front. Brandon Garand challenging Toledo. Toledo's going to look high. They're really tight here into the corner. Here comes Michael Wolf. Daniel George Jr. He's been up here battling. Got caught up in some of that drama. Now he's 3 wide coming down the backstretch. Tight to the door. The 24 and the 5. George is going to lead that Gerlinda out of those spots. Garand's going to move down, trying to pick up a little bit of the bump here. Meanwhile, it's Chapman out front. Toledo about, we'll call that a 6-car length gap, but he's got company side by side as Garand. Brandon Garand's going to take that P2 spot away. But here comes Daniel George Jr. putting on a show here, driving back through the drama. Getting caught up. He's been involved in 2 different incidences here tonight. Now he's up here battling in the top 3 as Garand is now starting to chew away at Andrew Chapman's run. The momentum starting to build here as the top 5 single filed out. The 24 going to look to the inside. Wolf on the inside of Daniel George Jr. Off the corner. George right to the bumper of the 1 car. Chapman continues to control the pace out front. Johnny Barker looking to get back up here into this top 4 fight. Here comes Josh Slater as well. We have seen him tangled up in some of the drama this evening. Richard Toledo, Jason Harrison, Jeff Bogo, Landon Forrester, the top 10. This is another group battling back here in tight quarters. Mason Hall, Eli Raposa working each other coming through the quarter. Not a bad run here so far for Brandon Garand. Last week's race winner. At Daytona, it'd be nice to put another notch in the belt here at Las Vegas. Improved to the field. This wasn't just a fluke with Super Speedway Racing. Right now, riding around in that P2 spot, Daniel George sitting in 3rd, and he's the tip of the spear of Wolf, Barker, Slater, Toledo, Pogo now. Or I'm sorry, that's not Pogo, that's Toledo there. Pogo's sometime back. I say work off of turn 2. Let's ride on board with Brandon Garand as he works to run down our leader. Right down to the bottom of the racetrack, and Garand got his foot through the firewall. Little bit of wall contact there for the 1. But he's got that car on rails, and he's got something figured out here. We'll take a look at lap times for the 23 and the 1, Andrew Chapman. That was a 31:30. Grand ran a 28. A little faster, but that gap is 3/10. He's going to have to continue to really dig into that just a little bit, as now all of a sudden we've got a single filed out top 6 or top 7 here with Josh Slater. Starting to lose a little bit of momentum back there off the 24. Then we look back here. This battle is for 8. That's Jeff Pogo, Jason Harrison. He's in the mix of this. Mason Hall, Eli Raposa. Oh, Daniel George Jr.'s into the wall. That's going to bring no caution. We're going to stay green. What happened to Daniel George Jr. there? I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're going to get a chance to get back to it either. Either way, Chapman, Garan, Toledo now into the top 3. They continue to get racy back here. Harrison, Raposa, Mason Hall, and Landon Forrester. This just shows you just what this air is doing to this car tonight here in Vegas. That's Jeff Pogo. He's out front of this group and is able to hang on to it for the most part, but he's running 7th. He's got about a 2.2 second gap to run down this lead pack group. Across the stripe, side by side back there. Meanwhile, up front, this top 5 continues to scatter out even more. Chapman, Toledo, that gap now 3/10 of a second. Garand is settled into 3rd. He's going to look to the inside here, ever so slightly underneath that 33 car. Well, that's the 33 in sim, but I do believe that's the 7 on scoring. Either way, Garand looking to the inside. Here comes Johnny Barker on the outside of the 1 as they roll through 1 and 2. Another green flag run starting to materialize for this group as they come to the stripe. That'll be 19 laps to go in the desert. Andrew Chapman putting on a stellar performance here tonight as Johnny Barker gets around the 1 car. We're starting to see some of the tires fade with some of these drivers, and it's going to become a factor for some of them. We've heard a lot of them really try to favor the car just ever so slightly through the corner, and then others just have been flat out. Then depending on where you are in traffic demands what you can do with the car. As we see, that's Mason Hall and Eli Raposa battling out here. Here comes the 39 car of Landon Forrester trying to break back into the top 10. Garand able to get back around the 6 here, and that just that's the type of runs that these cars are getting. If you're off for a lap or so, that's okay, because you can turn around and get it right back. It's right on board with Johnny Barker as he follows in the trail of the 1 car. Wanted to keep up with that, but we've got to have a battle for the lead here. Chapman is finally being caught by Richard Toledo, and it's going to be a battle here, because this is going to bring pretty much the top 4 all within striking distance. Last time by, Chapman was a 10th slower than Toledo and Garand. This time by, through the start finish line, Chapman 32-34. Richard Toledo 32-34 or 35, and Well, we're seeing it right here, side by side for the lead with just 15 laps to go in Vegas. Toledo down to the inside, and both him and Chapman slide up tight. I'm not to call him Benson, but Johnny Barker right to the bumper here, and here comes the one in Garand. This is going to really make this battle for the lead essentially across the entire top four. Down the backstretch, Chapman able to hang on to the lead, trying to use that arrow to his advantage. Brandon Garand now looking underneath the one of Toledo. This could help Chapman slide away to the stripe, 13 to go. Toledo got a massive run there. He's going to try to get clear of the 23. I don't think he's going to be able to do it here. He's going to slide up. That car's going to slow down. Here comes Chapman on the outside. We've seen many drivers make pretty strong runs there on that outside line coming off of 2. This is the longest green flag run of the night, so these drivers, this is fairly new territory for everybody in the field, what these cars feel like. This is a fixed setup group, so everybody's running the same thing, and now it's all about saving. Obviously, we've seen a couple caution flags and laps here tonight, so some of these drivers haven't had a chance to see what it feels like to save these tires. Others may have been laying back just a little bit, knowing we may break out into a green flag condition. Well, this top 5 is going at it. They don't care if it's 10 to go or 1 to go. They're all battling for an opportunity to be within striking distance come that white flag. Single filed head off into the corner and working here, 11 laps to go for tonight's 802 Gen 6 Cup car, or Cup Season Series. I cannot talk anymore. It's been a long week. And right there, side by side, Toledo again on the inside of Chapman. Chapman has been really careful and regarded that outside line very, very carefully for what you're about to see right here. He's going to maintain that middle of the corner line, and then he's going to muscle right back up to the front, and then he's going to get down here into turn 3 and really put it together. Toledo's going to fall back in line, but so far nobody's been able to uproot Chapman on that outside line. Meanwhile, Toledo, that car gets tight. He hits the wall in 3 and 4. That's going to bring Johnny Barker to the inside. Garand is going to follow him through across the stripe here. 9 laps to go in Vegas. Chapman now all of a sudden 5-car length gap. He has been playing this. I don't know how he could have done it any better, to be honest with you. They're going to catch him here in about 3 laps, 4 laps, and then he's going to be able to break away once again. The master of the air here tonight with this Gen 6 Cup car. It has been a tough battle for a lot of these drivers. We're starting to see those lap times really fade off. Best lap times, let's talk about Johnny Barker. Right there, P2 on the bottom of the racetrack. His best lap time at 30.22. Last time by, he ran a 32.43. So nearly 2.5 seconds of tire fall off. And these drivers have been out there since lap number 64 on those Goodyears. So this is, like I mentioned, the longest green flag streak of the night. And they're still right here battling each other as Barker's going to dive underneath Toledo. Those two are going to continue to swipe back and forth there with that P2 spot. Chapman, meanwhile, hangs out up front. He's going to run into some lap traffic. This shouldn't be a factor, I would not think, for the 23. The only way it would be is if he catches this next car in an odd spot down here in 1 and 2. We'll see how this all pans out. Toledo's going to take advantage. He's going to start to put the nose to the inside. They're going to come to the stripe. That's going to be 6 to go. The battle heating up front. Barker's going to challenge on the inside. They did not catch that lap car, but Chapman wasn't quite there either. He's going to look for the toe. Maybe that's why he changed up his line. And wow, big change up out of Chapman. That's going to get Toledo to the inside. Both those drivers running higher up the racetrack. Here comes the 6. Now this is going to get interesting. Does Chapman got the tire? Oh, no, the lap car is going to move out of the way. Chapman's going to fall right back to where he needs to. He's going to hold Toledo down to the bottom, and then now rip it off turn 2 to the high line. It's going to be a 3-way battle. Here comes Johnny Barker. Barker down to the inside. Is able to take a 2-for-1. It's side-by-side battle for third, or for second place, 3 wide as they come across the stripe. 4 to go. Can Barker hang on to the lead here now that he may have a taste of clean air? Chapman's going to have to work for him pretty hard. He's looking for any draft advantage he can get. He's got Toledo to the back bumper. Big slingshot move. Chapman moves to the bottom. Was trying to take advantage of the draft he had. He's not going to get clear of the 6. He's going to turn Johnny Barker. Barker's going to take a ride through the grass. No caution out. Toledo is going to take the lead. Brandon Garand now P2. Andrew Chapman's falling all the way back to 4th. Michael Wolf sitting in that 3rd place spot. Toledo up front all night here, or at least for a good portion of the laps. Gonna come across the stripe, 2 to go, and he is out front. 0.3 of a second. Johnny Barker's gonna come down pit road. I believe he's gonna have to serve a penalty. Unfortunately, where he hit pit road, coming through the infield, trying to avoid getting back out on track. Now, it's gonna be all about the 1 car. He's going to have 4 more quarters to get it done. Or can Toledo hold him off? Chapman leading this pack here of running for 4th across the stripe. Richard Toledo sees the white flag one more time around at Vegas. Brandon Garand not able to gain much time there on our leader. Chapman is settled into that 3rd place spot. Only leading a handful of laps here tonight in Vegas, but it doesn't matter. The lucky lady strikes. Richard Toledo brings home the checker flag in Vegas. Brandon Garand able to bring home P2. Andrew Chapman, a heartbreaking result for that driver who led a ton of laps here tonight. Is going to come home 3rd. Jason Harrison, Josh Slater, Michael Wolf. Jeff Pogo is going to finish 7th. Mason Hall 8th. Ron Holyfield, Eli Raposa, Landon Forrester, your top 10. We're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll watch Toledo burn it down here on the front stretch at Vegas. And we'll be back for some post-race action. You're watching Turn 1. An eventful night coming to a close here at Las Vegas for the 802 Gen 6 Cup Series. And let's do really really quickly, let's grab third place finisher of Andrew Chapman. Andrew, a heartbreaking result there, and otherwise what was a really banner night. Walk me through your evening, brought home the pole, and led a ton of laps here.
Well, we led a ton of laps, but we didn't get the win, so that's unfortunate. I gotta apologize to the 6. I turned him there with, 2 or 3 laps to go, trying to race hard, or however many laps it was, so I didn't mean to do that. Apologize to him, but other than that, I mean, it's whoever's got clean air can control the race, and that's what I tried to do, was control the race as long as I could.
Yeah, Andrew, that was going to be my question to you. It seemed like really the clean air was king here tonight. These cars also, seems like there's some netcode funkiness going on at the moment. What happened to you there getting caught back up in that traffic? Did you, once you lost that lead, did you feel like the car fell off?
Just everyone getting the draft. Tires got old. I felt like I probably had better tires than everyone, having clean air as long as I did, but I just couldn't hold them off there then.
Well, Andrew Chapman bringing home P3 here tonight. Andrew, thanks for the time tonight, and we'll see you again next time.
Appreciate it.
With that, we will talk to the race winner here. Richard, congratulations on a win. Didn't lead a ton of laps here tonight, but battled up in that top 5 for a good portion of it. Walk me through your evening.
I mean, it started out, I installed everything for the first time in like 2 months, so I had to reset everything, and there were a couple of times where I had to go to the pits in order to set up the volume and everything, and it was really funny because I would have the engine like kind of low, but then everything else was really loud, so every time somebody would like touch the wall or anything, it would just sound like crazy. But those last few laps, it was just, I don't know. It was, with this package, really tough to pass, so every time I seemed to clear the 23, he would get back with the momentum. And then that incident he had with Mark Martin, the 6, just kind of gave me away the win. But we're really lucky today. I just want to thank my spotter, Ryan Davis, for helping me, and Carlos Ortiz, too, who unfortunately crashed in this race. And Matt Grab, too. He was the one that made this paint scheme. We might not be too broke now.
Well, Richard, listen, it seemed like it was really tough to manage the runs in these cars, the momentum and the draft back there running in that top 5. At times we saw you 2 and 3 wide racing just to hang on to the spot there. Was this all about just managing the run on the car? Was tires a factor there at the very end?
It was what I kind of did. I just managed the tires, and then the runs. It was kind of easy to defend if you just went to the outside, especially later in the run. You could just defend without. These cars are just boats on the long run. I mean, it was just really tight in 3 and 4, so it was kind of easy to defend the position unless there was like a high tire differential on laps.
Well, listen, congratulations on a winner, a victory here at Las Vegas. Well fought. We'll
Can I send a few shout-outs? Can I send a few shout-outs?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
All right, so I just want to shout out Ashton Miller, Aiden Coles, Benjamin Horner, Brendan Hussinger, Cameron Chandler, C.J. Ehrman, Jacob Clarino, Landon Brown, Matt Grabb, Matthew White, Max DeFilippi, Bryce Benton, Carlos Ortiz, Payson Lindsay, Rajon Koch, Tarek Speed, and Aiden Donahue. And I just want to send a few shout-outs in Spanish as well. Un saludo a Chibi, Diego Salas, un saludo también a Camila, un saludo también a mi prima Natalie, un saludo a Roxana también, un saludo a Anthony también, un saludo a Talia también, un saludo a Gary Smith también, un saludo a Lucas King también. Soy español, ¿qué quieres que te gane? ¡Viva España!
All right, Richard Toledo bringing home the victory here in Vegas. Richard, thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we will grab Brandon Garand here, finishing 1 spot short of going back-to-back. Brandon, top 2, top 3 here tonight at Vegas. That's got to feel pretty good. This car looked like it was a handful tonight.
Yeah, definitely a handful, but kind of just like that whole last run, I was trying to save my tires and kind of ride behind those guys, thinking what eventually kind of did happened where they all got into each other a little bit, and I was hoping to part the C's. I did part the C's, didn't quite get the first position, but was hoping maybe in those last 2 or 3 laps I'd be able to get a run on them coming off the corner, but just never could get a good enough run off the corner to actually use the suck up of this car that seemed to be way more than I remember when we drove this car last. But yeah, come away with a top 3 finish.
It looked really difficult to drive at times. It also looked like there was some net code as a factor. Sitting in the driver's seat, were you thinking about that at all when you were making some of the moves you were making there in that top 5 tonight?
Oh yeah, it was heavily net code thought the whole race. I mean, try not to think about it, but because you race totally different, but at the same time you do got to be conscious of it, because it just, when you're not expecting it, it'll take you out. So definitely some thoughts in it, but once you get up in that top 5, you know how it is. You want to get up there racing, you want to get to the lead, and just yeah, kind of put that aside once we were up in the top 5 and we got that last restart with I think 30 to go or whatever it was. It was I didn't care about netcode at that point. I wanted to try to at least maintain where we were or try to go back to back, and we almost did it.
Yep, survived the chaos. That was Las Vegas, bringing home P2 here tonight. Brandon, thanks for the time tonight. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for the broadcast. Give a shout out to the kids as always, Bryson and Brody, and once again, man, always a killer broadcast, and we'll see you around the next time.
That's right. Brandon Garay and P2 here tonight at Las Vegas, and we I'll tell you what, it was a madhouse here, and they survived it. Had a long run at the very end there. Turned out to be some great racing up and down the board there towards the second half of that race. On behalf of the league, I've been some Sean Fitz. Really excited to welcome this group here on Wednesday nights. We're going to get it figured out. We go night racing at Bristol, short tracking this time next week here on Turn 1. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you tomorrow night for more racing action. Bye-bye, everybody.